It generally
again,
takes a while.
If I have Brees on my Dynasty team, I know he's signing. I'm not trading him before he signs. Why would I do that?
Because then you buy him later in the offseason before he signs.
No, I'm not trading him back to somebody like, oh, okay, I got through my... Because these are guys you should sell off of your Dynasty teams while you can, because their price is not correct at the moment. It's not that we don't like these players. It's that their price and the guys you can move them for right now is worth taking advantage of. We're going to start with Emeka Egbuka. Of course, the regression's coming. You have to sell Emeka Egbuka because this isn't sustainable for him. That's a joke, obviously. You are not selling Emeka Egbuka anywhere. A lot of people are going to be saying that, though, and it's just not true. Brock Bowers is one that I'm serious about. Dead serious. Look at my face. Look how serious this is. I mean, Bowers... And look, a lot of people are going to be like, this is so reactionary, blah, blah, blah. We weren't drafting Bowers in the first round of Dynasty startups
for a reason.
This is, no. This is not reactionary, so stop. This is an 8-month take. It's an 8-month take. And the fact of the matter is, Bowers has been in double digits one time this year. He recovering from a knee injury. I think it's a PCL.
That's not good for his outlook rest of
the season. So, I mean, but here's the thing. Even with all of this, and Dynasty is great sometimes because we can be patient with it. He's still the 12th overall ranked player on Keep Trade Cut. People have him as a first-round player, still going at the turn. And you saw him going in the first of Dynasty startups, and it's well documented. We did not like that. Every time we went in the first in startup on our channel, we were like, no, we don't love that at all. So this is not reactionary. This is the fact that you can still now cash out on Brock Bowers, and you can down tier to Trey McBride, first of all. This is, again, he's ranked 8 spots lower. You can down tier to Tyler Warren, who's ranked 25 spots lower. And they're just as productive this year. So short term, it doesn't hurt you. Long term, I think they project just as well. But these are the ones that I mean, like in a Superflex Dynasty League, if you can move Bowers for Neighbors as a rebuild or reload, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's a dream.
Jalen Hurts, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those are the guys right above him. The guys below him, CeeDee Lamb. Are we serious? Talk about reactionary. CeeDee Lamb has dropped below Bowers. He's dropped like 10% of his value because he got hurt for 3 games. Yeah. And CeeDee Lamb is neck. You can get CeeDee Lamb for Brock Bowers in a Dynasty League. And yeah, people are going to be like, well, what about a Titan Premium League? Yeah. Take CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't even know how this is a question at this point. JSN is insane, y'all. Yeah. JSN is insane. I'll keep going. I mean, Emeka Egbuka is right down there. And people are going to be like, yeah, you're going to be buying high. I don't care. Look at what he's doing. He fits perfectly there. Ashton Genty, even. Ashton Genty is like multiple spots. So now we're getting way below. You can comfortably down tier from Bowers to Drake May, Rome Odunze, Amarian Hampton, Drake London. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. Like I would have him ranked right now at the beginning of the second round, and he's ranked at the end of the first. I would have him at the end of the second round. He's ranked at the end of the first. Yeah. I think he's valued around too high in Dynasty Fantasy Football. These are Titan Premium rankings. I think if you can pivot off of Bowers at any of those guys or down tier to any of the guys I just mentioned, I think that's a slam dunk trade. Because if you really want that level of production, you want to know what you can do? You can go get Jake Ferguson. And CeeDee Lamb's coming back. Fergie was productive before that. You can go get Tucker Kraft. He's way cheaper. Again, Tyler Warren is 3 rounds cheaper. I mean, there are plenty of other tight ends. I mean, you can go get Hunter Henry, and he would be producing at the same level as Bowers right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the main argument here is I think there really is a disconnect and almost a misunderstanding of like how we should be valuing tight ends, specifically in tight end premium formats, the high-end guys, and what really is the opportunity cost between owning a guy like Brock Bowers versus just owning a Jake Ferguson. And clearly, that's been, honestly, Brock Bowers versus a TJ Hawkinson right now. And Hawkinson isn't doing anything sexy at all. But
and he's a sell for us.
At least he's scoring points, and it's at a fraction of the price that a guy like Brock Bowers costs. And you're going to be like, okay, well, the insulation, the upside, et cetera, et cetera. I understand that. As a reload or a rebuild, would you really rather build your roster around a onesie position where Brock Bowers is the number 1 guy there and we've historically seen volatility at that position? Or would you rather build around a cornerstone elite level wide receiver in the same price range who you know is going to maintain that value for the next 4 years?
It's not even debatable.
It's not even debatable in our opinion. There is a reason that we tell you rebuilds and reloads specifically to heavily invest in wide receiver, target assets that have yet to reach their value ceiling, whether it's due to injury, whether it's due to just them not reaching their potential, and we know the investment is there for them to get the opportunity to reach it, Or again, maybe you're overinvested in running back and tight end and quarterback as a rebuild, and it just doesn't make any sense at this point in time. Again, we've seen this over the last 24 months, this surge in the golden age of wide receivers, this surge in wide receivers market value increasing as a whole. And I think we need to follow that trend and be ahead of it when it comes to how guys like Brock Bowers are currently being priced. The tight end one in Dynasty from here on out will no longer be priced as a first round asset.
Shouldn't be.
And they should not be. And it will not happen again for a very long time if I were a betting man here. Like at this point, the Dynasty community has not adjusted yet to what Brock Bowers' market value really should be. They will, in my opinion, by the end of the season.
I hope so.
But this is why it's an in-season market play, and this is why we're talking about Bowers now heading into week 6, is you can still capitalize on that opportunity when some people in your league might not be adjusting yet in time, and it's going to be a value win in the near future. Next guy that we're going to have here is Saquon Barkley. We have talked about this quite a bit. Guys like James Cook, I think we've talked about being big risers or big values, honestly, good values for contending teams. I got James Cook in a contending team, and yeah, he had a down week in week 4, but I ended up being okay with what his price was because I basically got him for like a couple of firsts and Godwin as a throw-in. And I think I got another asset too. I don't remember. And they were late first. But again, with Saquon Barkley and his price right now, his production output is not really any different than about 10 other running backs in the league right now that are not like elite level, S tier level running backs. Mm-hmm. If you remember at the beginning of the season, Saquon was heading into 2025 in the same tier as Omari and Hampton and maybe debatably Devon Achane. And then there was a big drop off after that because honestly, we just didn't really know what the outlook of a lot of these running backs were going to be. Lo and behold, the outlook for every single one of those in the tier below that ended up being positive because JT is going nuts. Bucky Irving looks really, really solid. Breece Hall is still scoring points. James Cook gets an extension and is balling out. Quinshon Judkins looks like one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. Omari and Hampton is going insane, and Travion Henderson is just maintaining because of his draft capital, and Kyron Williams is coming off of a 30-plus point game. And oh, by the way, CMC looks like 25-year-old CMC. How many did I just list there? 8 guys? 9 guys?
2. And
there's about a 2-round gap between where Saquon is currently being priced and the guy at the bottom of that tier, Kyron Williams. Oh yeah, Josh Jacobs was the other guy as well. Josh Jacobs is looking great too. And you are going to have guys in this range that probably, I mean, just historically speaking, and if you're going to play the luck of the draw here, like 1 or 2 of these guys may get banged up this season, miss some time. Bucky Irving's already missing some time. So you're going to see some natural value fluctuation there. But again, as a contender, when you're talking about production output here and you own Saquon Barkley, what really is the benefit of holding Saquon Barkley at top 2-round prices as a 28.5-year-old running back when you can get a 21-year-old running back in Quinshon Judkins a round and a half later? When you can get a guy who's the same age in CMC 2 rounds later and is outproducing Saquon Barkley right now in an offense that is running their entire identity is in CMC right now. Mm-hmm. What really is the difference between having a 28.5-year-old running back in Saquon Barkley and Kyron Williams, who's in just as good of an offense? Josh Jacobs in an offense that runs their entire offense through him. Again, these are the conversations that we need to be having when the 3-year outlook, the age, and the risk are about the same for every single one of these guys. Then what do we generally tell you to do? Down tier. Get a plus on top. If you're a contending team and you need some extra wide receiver help because maybe T. Higgins has been really disappointing this season, why would you not down tier from Saquon Barkley to Josh Jacobs plus like Cortland Sutton? In my opinion, that just doesn't make sense if you're not willing to do something like that on a team where you're trying to be competitive and trying to maximize the production upside of your flex spots. It's a really good market play. If you're a reload, you can capitalize on the current value that Saquon Barkley has, ship him off to a contender, and go get Travion Henderson plus a haul right now and insulate your value long term.
Yeah, you hear us make qualifying statements like that all the time. If you're a reload, if you're a rebuild, if you're content, it's because buys and sells are always relative to what your team actually looks like. If you're a rebuild, if you're a contend, what your team archetype is. And so if you'd like Nathan and I, take a look at your team. We do all of these team blueprints here ourselves, and we actually include a free one if you become a member of the site, which means you get access to every single thing on the site, our Dynasty trade calculator, our Dynasty rankings, our rookie draft tools. We're going to have plenty of things for you in the spring as well. Plus, you're going to get a team review thrown in from Nathan and I. Nathan and I will review your team. You'll get sent this team blueprint, and we'll give you all of that information, your buys and sells, your team archetype, etc. Then you're going to get an infinite blueprint on top of that, which means you don't just get the one review. After that, you get multiple reviews. A new review every week of the season, in fact. And so it's the best deal in Dynasty Fantasy Football. But come join the community and get the team review from Nathan and I. We'd be happy to look at your team and tell you, hey, this is what we think of it, and these are the guys we think you should move on your team. This is what you should get back. So flockfantasy.com/domain. I got the link down in the pinned comment. Again, use code domain. It's the annual Mother Flocker tier that includes the free team review. We'd love to have you join the community, and we'd love to take a look at your team and give you a second opinion on it as well. Let's talk about Jordan Love. Because with Love, I mean, we just guys, I really like Jordan Love. And Jordan Love's a guy where if I have him like in dynasty leagues and I'm not getting the prices that I'm about to tell you, I'm just going to hold him because I think he's one of those guys to where he's going to be stable. He's not going to go way down in value. He's not going to be, I don't think he's going to go where Stroud is going right now in terms of, they're dropping in value. But in terms of like how Jordan Love has produced so far this year, I mean, he was like a high-end quarterback 2 coming into this week. And his dynasty value, and again, we're just playing the market here. His dynasty value has gotten to the point where he now is a late 3rd round pick in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's going at the exact same place CJ Stroud was going. And Love was the quarterback 5 in his first year in 2023. But last year he was the quarterback 17 in 15 games. And so far this year, I mean, again, the dude does not have rushing upside. And he's thrown for a lot of touchdowns so far this year. And with a good Packers offense, I believe that's sustainable. But I'm just telling you this. And I've said this multiple times, and we'll continue to say it, and it will continue to happen this way. Pocket passing QBs that aren't Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, that don't really offer any rushing upside, they simply will not maintain value at the end of the 3rd round in Dynasty starter drafts in Superflex leagues. They will not do it. Every time you've seen a quarterback jump up there, he's fallen. Kyler was hanging around there, he's gone. Stroud was hanging around there, he's gone. And realistically, from a production standpoint as well, from a 3-year outlook standpoint, how is Jordan Love around better than Baker Mayfield? He's not. Baker is the ceiling of where these productive guys will realistically be valued once people kind of settle on what their actual production profile is.
You know what I've learned from quarterbacks in Superflex leagues at this point, given the volatility of like how much they fluctuate on a year-to-year basis.
That you don't want to own 90% of them.
Well, not just that, but insulation doesn't matter for these guys when you're talking about dynasty value insulation.
Well, it's almost non-existent outside of the top 2 rounds.
It is purely production dependent.
Yep.
If they are not producing at the level that you expect them to, they will fall in value.
Look at Bo Nix.
That is, you don't see that anywhere else. You have not seen it with Bowers, with some of your elite level tight ends. You haven't seen it with Laporta, who we're going to talk about on this video. But you have not seen it with plenty of wide receivers that have been disappointing. Like BTJ and Ladd have been disappointing this year. And yes, they've lost value. They won't lose near the amount of value that a guy like Jordan Love will when he has a disappointing season. Or a guy like Dak Prescott did when he got banged up last season, despite the massive contract extension that
Dak's
he signed.
more productive than all of these guys, by the way.
And he's the cheapest. Trevor Lawrence
Still
the
down tier to Dak. I was thinking about that when I was watching them play the other day. Through 4 touchdowns, I was like, man, the down tier to Dak looks pretty good. How many times did we suggest that this offseason?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is,
probably 1,000.
The down tier to Dak wasn't just production. It wasn't just a production take. Well. It was a value take in saying that Dak was going to gain value once he started producing, and he hasn't.
He's not gone up in value at all.
Which is crazy.
So it's like,
we're like kind of right, but kind of wrong because he hasn't gained value, but you're getting the same amount of production, if not better, from him at a cheaper price and getting a plus on top to help maximize the production upside of your skill position assets at running back and wide receiver.
But you know the value when you probably did get is the guy you got on top of Dak Prescott when you down to him. Like that's the beauty in it. I don't care if Dak maintains this price. I'll just hold Dak for the rest of his career. That's really where I'm at with quarterbacks.
That's where I'm at with Baker too.
And with Love, again, I like Jordan Love. If Jordan Love's going to be valued where Baker's valued, I'm fine just holding him. I really am. Because I feel more comfortable rostering Jordan Love than I do a lot of quarterbacks in that range. Really, I feel more comfortable with him than Bo Nix.
I mean, not to revisit this whole, take with us yelling at you guys for 3 straight videos about Quinshon Judkins and how much of a buy he is. But this is case in point why we were advocating for this. Quinshon Judkins has shot up boards significantly since he's had a really, really good showing to start his career in Cleveland. Already well past the value that he was pre all the legal stuff, post-draft when he was still ranked pretty high. Why in the world would you not move Jordan Love for Quinshon Judkins?
And he's ranked above Judkins right now.
Right.
And Love is ranked above Wilson. Wilson just got paid, and he's a top 5 wide receiver on the season. You've got Ted McMillan just right above him, and Nico Collins and James Cook all right there. Even Brian Thomas. Sure, buy low on Brian Thomas. You can down tier to Rashee Rice. You can down tier to Marv or Travion or Kyron or Josh Jacobs or guys that are actually going to win you leagues in your flex spots. And you can start Dak for half the price.
Yeah.
All of those skill position guys in that range, I will move Jordan Love for. And again, at the point where he gets valued where Baker is, next to Ladd and next to Rashee Rice, and actually Rashee Rice is just too low, and then next to Kyron and Henderson and Josh Jacobs, that's okay. I'm fine holding him there. But if you're actually getting Quinshon Judkins, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, James Cook, like the perfect site that Keep Trade, all of you say Keep Trade Cut's so good. Well, if it's so accurate and so good, then his price is much too high, and you should move him for one of those guys immediately or down tier to another quarterback. I don't care. But again, he's not going to probably maintain the value here.
Yeah, if you remember preseason, Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence were valued right by each other, and now you see how far they've split apart. Again, you flip those situations and you say Lawrence has a fast start and Love has a slow start, their values flip-flop. Yeah. That is the dramatic range of possibilities for these QBs at the moment in that value range.
Exactly.
And it's a wide value range. Next guy we've got here is Breece Hall. I'm going to have Breece Hall honestly as a market play here because there are multiple running backs again in this tier where he's kind of in that same range right now as Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Travion Henderson. All three of those running backs I would prefer over Breece Hall at the moment because I think the value play in season bodes well for every single one of those running backs over Breece at the moment. They are all in objectively better situations. I understand that Henderson has been slower. He just objectively is going to be a better investment and a safer investment because he's going to maintain his value given the draft capital investment and the fact that long-term, regardless of what you think about Ramondre the rest of this season, long-term they are planning on phasing Ramondre out and Henderson will be the number one guy there and he will be the top guy and he will get all that work. Like I don't think these are just fluky flashes that he's shown throughout all of the offseason and even some nice plays in the middle of the season as well. His snap share usage now going up with the Gibson injury. Like that's going to be a better value market play, in my opinion, throughout the course of this season than it will be with Breece Hall in a bad situation for the New York Jets. Breece Hall, who has been fine, like he's been productive. He's had some good games. I mean, you're looking at the Jets really just playing from behind in a lot of these matchups. He's had a 16-pointer, another 16-pointer, a 17-pointer. He's had a 5 and a 9-pointer against Buffalo and Tampa Bay. No touchdowns, actually, which is crazy. He hasn't had any touchdowns at all. I don't necessarily think it's coincidence at this point where like last year in terms of the touchdown usage, it went way down. 2023, he only had 5 touchdowns on the ground. His rookie season, only 4 touchdowns on the ground. They don't like to utilize this guy in the red zone. They never, ever have. And we can have another conversation about Breece Hall once we get to the offseason and if he dips a little bit in value, what's going to happen once he signs a contract. I'm all for having that conversation. But again, these are in-season sells heading into week 6 where we are playing the market and playing the value upside of guys that are in Breece Hall's value range who will probably move up boards sooner than a guy like Breece Hall will specifically. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rashee Rice are other cross-positional assets that you could go invest in by paying Breece Hall prices at the moment. And like Rashee Rice is not even a question for me. If you can move Breece Hall and go get Rashee Rice, I don't care if you have to throw in a second or a third. By gosh, please just do that. Please do that. It's when Rashee Rice comes back healthy and gets 10 plus targets a game, you can thank me later. But again, Breece is like the guy that I trust the least in that value range of all the running backs there specifically.
So the tough thing about selling Breece Hall is that I've held this opinion a long time. I think he's going to sign somewhere better this offseason.
I literally just addressed that.
And I think, okay, well, hold on. I know. But I will say that I think it's conditional. I think if you're a rebuild or reload, I think you have to hold him because he's going to go up in value.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
If you're a rebuild or a reload, you wouldn't sell Breece Hall for Rashee Rice.
Of course, yes, I would sell him for Rashee Rice. There are some guys in that range.
Why not Travion Henderson?
I mean, what's Henderson's value going to do if he doesn't actually play the rest of the year? It's going to go down.
It's going to maintain.
But again, Breece Hall's value is going to go up. Like Breece Hall in Dynasty
Are you so sure about that?
When he signs somewhere else or gets a new deal, yes, I'm sure.
Yes, but not in the near future. In the middle of the season,
yeah, but again,
when
if you're a
clearly his
rebuild or
production
reload, why do
outlook
you
is
care
capped.
about the near future?
Because
you don't care about production.
Because you're trying.
Kyron's not going to go up in Dynasty value.
I don't think Breece is either.
Yes, he will.
Breece Hall is the poster child for a market play in the middle of the season where if you are reload, you sell him now and you buy him back later.
3 hours later.
And so I just see him as somebody who's going to gain value. And for me, that's always the point of having a reload team is like, I just want guys to gain value. He checks that box. And so I'm just like, well, I'm just going to hold.
If he loses a little in 6, he's going to be a buy.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So sorry you had to see mom and dad fight, but we have to work through these things. Dynasty's emotional. Not really. It's just a running back take. Let's keep going. And with Jordan Mason, it's a little bit more straightforward here because Jordan Mason, they gave up a decent amount to get Jordan Mason, but it's all about the price here. And right now you can get Trey Benson for Jordan Mason. And as a dynasty asset, I'd much prefer Trey Benson. I even think somebody like Travis Etienne, another running back in that range, I feel like you would feel comfortable going and getting Travis Etienne there. And so, I would go ahead and make that move. Some of the other guys in this range, you can get Colson Lovin. I think he projects better long term. If you're contending, Cortland Sutton might be a better option for you in a PPR league. But frankly put, Jordan Mason's value has kind of gone up and peaked and then it started, falling back down a little bit. For somebody who's going to be 27 next year, I don't necessarily think that the value is going to go back up much for Jordan Mason. I think if anything, if they don't bring Aaron Jones back and he's the guy there next year, I think they're going to bring somebody and they're going to draft somebody to continue to be the receiving back there. And Jordan Mason, I just think his ceiling is a little bit capped from a dynasty value standpoint. Whereas if you're flexing Jordan Mason, you're not getting the upside. The same upside as if you're flexing a Travis Etienne or a Cortland Sutton, like I mentioned. Or, a Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is valued less than Jordan Mason right now. I'd much rather flex Devontae Adams. So from a contending standpoint, it makes sense to move him because, you can get higher upside flex options. You're not starting Jordan Mason in your starting running back spot. From a reload perspective, it makes sense to move him because you can sell him to a contender who's like, yeah, I could use him as running back depth and probably cash out on what I think it will be the highest. Look, he was a good market play in the offseason. Granted, anybody who said to buy Jordan Mason, it works because he's gone up in value a lot. But will it continue to go up in value? I'm not sure. And again, I would take most of the guys around him for contending teams and for reloading teams. Again, if I'm a reload, I want Trey Benson instead. RJ Harvey's even up there. I'd be fine taking a long-term play on RJ Harvey. Colson Loveland's down there. I would be happy taking Colson Loveland. And then the rebuilding guys again, or the contending guys, there are higher upside flex options than this. And so with Mason, it's kind of more of a straightforward one. I think he's reached his value peak and I think it's time to probably sell him.
I think Ricky Pearsall is kind of risky right now as well. His value range actually is very, very close to guys like T. Higgins and Zay Flowers. There are a couple of running backs there as well, mainly Cam Scatterbo, who is moving up boards pretty much every single week quite a bit. With Ricky, Ricky is a 25-year-old second-year wide receiver who has a history of getting injured. He's already banged up this season. And while I'm not putting all my stock into saying, well, Ricky's just going to constantly be injured, that is a factor. But just when you're talking about the value upside of every single one of these guys in his value range, Zay Flowers, George Pickens, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, and then all the contending assets here as well, like A.J. Brown, who's fallen. We don't really know what situational outlook he's going to have for the next couple of seasons. But there are shots there that I just feel better about than Ricky Pearsall in an offense where you're going to have Ayuk come back, and they signed him to a big extension last offseason, which is going to merit him staying there at least for the next couple of years. You have George Kittle, who will be back healthy. CMC is looking great. Brock Purdy or Mac Jones or whatever. There's going to be volume there where these guys can produce, but Pearsall, it's not going to be consistent enough, and he doesn't necessarily have the skill sets to just be a number one option, number one wide receiver there for us to be like, yeah, go ahead and take the shot on him over a contract-insulated T. Higgins, who will go back up once Burrow's back healthy, for Xavier Worthy, who's just in a better, more consistent offense in Kansas City when Rashee Rice is coming back healthy and will really elevate, I think, Xavier Worthy's production upside as well, for a running back in a golden age, honestly, of running backs that we're approaching right now in Dynasty, where a ton of them are gaining value, and deservedly so, for guys like Scatterbo. So every single one of those guys I just think is a little bit safer than Pearsall is. I think you'll see a lot of value fluctuation in the near future for Pearsall, where again, in the future, his value could be more palatable, kind of like Brees if he disappoints this year. But that's kind of the case for Pearsall. Once Ayuk comes back, it's going to be really shaky to navigate that situation. Then our last guy here is going to be Harold Fannin. Again, this is another one that I think is honestly pretty simple. We were just talking about what is the opportunity cost of holding a tight end who's producing at mediocre levels compared to just investing in a skill position guy at running back or wide receiver in that same value range. And again, as a contender, if you made a market value play on Harold Fannin in the early offseason to see if he turned into anything, now is your time to cash out and get actual production that's going to make a difference in your flex spots, because Harold Fannin, even when he does have productive days, is not like blowing your socks off. He had a 13-pointer against Cincinnati week 1, 11-pointer against Minnesota. It's great to see some of that usage. The target volume isn't blowing you away. It's nothing elite level. It's nothing crazy, indicating that he's going to get up to the value range of like a Trey McBride or a Brock Bowers. And oh, by the way, he's playing for Cleveland, who is never going to figure out their QB situation like ever. I guess we'll find out when that happens. But look, Fannon's skill set, I mean, he operates like a wide receiver there. He plays on the field alongside David Njoku, and he's lining up as a wide receiver. So that's great. And it's like, oh, the tight end premium benefit of having a guy who plays as a wide receiver in Cleveland's offense. Judy can't produce. Tillman can't produce. Isaiah Bond is like a riser right now because he's getting some target volume. Quinshon Judkins is really the only viable, consistent guy that's making a difference as a contender on your team in your flex spots every single week. Fannin just isn't cutting it for you. You know who is cutting it for you every single week in that same value range is Devontae Adams. It's Cortland Sutton. It's some of those veteran running backs that we were talking about in Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne. It's Deebo Samuel, who's ranked well below Harold Fannin. Why would you not sacrifice the quote-unquote value upside that Harold Fannin has, which I think is very minimal at this point, for a guy like Deebo Samuel who can put up 20 to 25 points for you every single week? If you need to get an insurance play and a flex option in David Montgomery, I would do it. I would rather take the shot on Ja'Cory Krosky-Mara or Woody Marks as a running back than I would on a tight end in a bad offense who is just not going to get consistent target volume for us to be comfortable flexing him week in and week out. He just doesn't have the upside that these guys have. It's just a good value play in our opinion, and it's a great production play to capitalize on if you're a contending team.
So again, I mean, it's with these guys, not that we don't like them, it's that we don't really like their price, and for their price range, like,
you love Breece Hall.
You make me defend the stupidest players. Like, you made me the Travis Etienne lover in the offseason, and I'm like,
hey, which you're right about.
I'm right about this one. Just answer me this simple question, and then we'll end.
Yeah.
Is Breece Hall's value in April going to be higher or lower than it is right now?
You answer me this question. Will it be
You didn't answer the question.
No. Yes. Will it be higher or lower in December and January?
Why would it go down?
Because he's being outproduced by every single one of those other running backs in that range.
I mean, barely. People are holding. The reason his value is maintaining is because people know he's going to sign somewhere. That's why his value's not gone down. Otherwise, he would be losing.
It did dip until he started producing the last couple of weeks.
I mean, it's more simple than that for me. Is he in April? He's going to be higher valued, right? That's why as a rebuild, like on my rebuilding,
I would higher value than where he's currently being priced with the current running back market. I don't think it's a guarantee. I think it's possible if Saquon falls a ton. I think it's possible if CMC falls back a little bit. I don't think it's a guarantee at all because of how many running backs are in that range. Because you're looking at JT, James Cook, Henderson's insulation, Kyron, and Jacobs. You can make a good argument for. Like, in all seriousness, again, I'm not trying to be a turd because I think you are right. Like I think once we get to April,
people are going to flip about Breece Hall, and I think you'll be able to get way over.
But again, between October and April, it doesn't mean that for that 6-month stretch, you have to hold them through the ebbs and flows the entire time.
Most of the time, I'm fine doing that. If buying and then selling and then buying back, if it's like an AJ Brown where nobody cares, like if it's not a situational thing.
I just think once you get to the offseason, you know how running backs are in Dynasty, and the way half the teams in your league treat those types of running backs is you get into the offseason and then they just start wheeling and dealing these running backs because they don't want them on their team. They think it's cute to have all wide receivers. They don't want to produce, etc. So guys like Breece Hall end up being very dealable. This was very similar to James Cook. James Cook was very dealable in the offseason, and we were wrong with the way that we addressed his value because he ended up getting that extension. But I view Breece the same way. I think he's very liquid.
So the interesting thing about Breece though, when is the last time you saw a running back of this magnitude not get an extension on his original rookie deal and become like a true unrestricted free agent? Who's the last guy you've seen that had that happen to in Dynasty that was like a top 12 guy?
Sorry, can you say that again?
In Dynasty Fantasy Football, when is the last time you saw a running back as high profile as Breece not get an extension on his rookie deal with his original team and be like an unrestricted free agent? You can go wherever
I've seen a lot of them get tagged.
Yeah, I'm saying this is actually a pretty unique scenario where he's going to be testing the completely open market. Like I think the Dynasty community is going to flip about him when he signs somewhere. And so for me,
I agree with you.
So that's why as a reload on my reloading teams, I'm like, I'm going to hold Breece and I'll sell him as soon as he signs with his new team. Like then he's gone. So that's the play for me. I think he's going to go up in value.
You don't necessarily have to wait until the very beginning of the offseason. You could wait until, I mean, you could wait until December if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I do think in the near future, like, I
my
think there's a better
take
value play.
is simpler. Even if he does dip in value a little bit during the season, I'm fine holding it because I know his in value will be higher. And so I just see him as somebody who's going to gain value. And for me, that's always the point of having a reload team is like, I just want guys to gain value. He checks the box. And so I'm just like, well, I'm just going to hold.
If he loses a little in 6, he's going to be a buy.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. You don't get much debate from us very often, so I hope you enjoy that. We agree on 99% of things most of the time. So
99% is pretty accurate.
That
actually.
is, yeah. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you here soon.